Okay, welcome, everyone. It's really great to have you with us today as we unpack something pretty special.
It really is. We've got this fascinating collection of material here. Articles, reports, fan discussions, all pointing towards a universe a lot of us, grew up with.
Totally. And it all centers on this one big question that's been floating around for, over 20 years now. What actually happened in the Buffyverse after that huge final episode, Chosen?
Yeah, and it's a question without a simple answer, right?
Yeah.
As this material lays out, the journey since this show ended, it's been complicated, twisty.
Definitely not a straight line. We've got stuff here covering the official comics that went on for ages.
Right, seasons 8 through 12.
Then there were those live-action projects that kind of fizzled out.
That infamous stalled reboot, yeah.
And then that surprise audio drama that somehow got almost everyone back.
Incredible, wasn't it? Hearing those voices again.
And now there's some really big news, like concrete news about a new live-action show.
So that's what we're going to do today. We'll sift through all this, pull out the key stuff, try to make sense of this whole journey, and figure out why this universe still matters so much.
Yeah.
And, what this latest news might actually mean for the future.
Okay, let's get right into it then, starting with the absolute latest development, the thing that has everyone talking right now, actual movement on a new live-action show.
Yeah, that's the headline grabbing everyone. Hulu has officially, properly ordered a pilot for a new series set in the Buffyverse.
And a pilot order? That's a big deal, right? It's not just talk anymore. They're actually going to fill an episode.
Exactly. It means real money, real resources are being committed to see if this thing has legs. It's a major step forward from just, development chatter.
And the team behind it is Wes. The sources mentioned Nora and Lila Zuckerman. They did Poker Face, Prodigal Son, sharp writers.
Really sharp. Yeah. And then, directing the pilot episode, Oscar winner Chloe Zhao.
Seriously, Chloe Zhao.
Yep. That signals something, doesn't it? It says they're taking this seriously, aiming for quality, not just like a quick nostalgia cash-in. There's real creative weight behind it.
But here's the bit that probably made longtime fans gasp. Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's involved. She's coming back.
She is. And this is crucial. The sources are clear. She's not back as the main Slayer. Her role is described as a mentor.
A mentor. Okay, that changes everything. That tells you right away. This isn't a reboot wiping the slate clean. It's building on what came before.
It feels right, doesn't it? For her character arc. Think about Chosen. Buffy fundamentally changed the Slayer game.
Right, Willow's spell. No more one girl in all the world.
Exactly. Suddenly there were thousands of Slayers activated everywhere. Buffy's whole thing was the burden, the isolation. So seeing her pass that torch, guide a new generation, it feels like the natural next step for Buffy Summers.
Like she's overseeing the legacy she helped create.
Which brings us to the new Slayer. The pilot's going to focus on her. A teenager, sources say around 16 years old.
And there's this great description, I think it was Italian, bastone e trello.
Yeah, stick and brains. It's perfect. She's got the physical power, the Slayer strength, the stick, but also the smarts, the wit, the strategy, the brain.
That's the core Buffy formula, isn't it? It was never just about the fighting.
Never just about punching. And this new Slayer, she has a provisional name mentioned, Nova.
Nova, I like it. And she's going to be played by Ryan Kira Armstrong.
Right, a young actress stepping into those very big boots. Yeah. So, yeah, a new generation literally taking up the mantle with the original star there to guide her.
The sources also hint at who else is around Nova. A new Scooby Gang, maybe?
Looks like it. There's a Hugo, described as the nerdy love interest. A classic Buffyverse type.
Okay, shades of Xander or Willow there, maybe?
And then there's Gracie. This one's brilliant. She's described as a Buffy fan and a vampire expert.
Wait, hold on. A fan? Like, in the show's world, the TV show Buffy exists. Or is she a fan of, the historical figure of Buffy?
Huh. That's the cool kind of meta thing, isn't it? The sources leave it a bit ambiguous. It probably means she's obsessed with the lore, the history, maybe Giles' diaries are out there, something like that. People in that world know about Slayers in Sunnydale.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Like Slayer scholars. Imagine trying to debate canon with her.
Right. It's a really fun modern twist. Who else? There's Mia, who's apparently addicted to social media. Very 21st century.
Okay, I can see the plot lines already. Demons getting reviewed on TikTok.
Maybe. Then there's Cole, mentioned as a group leader type, and Mr. Burke, the librarian who becomes a vampire.
The librarian's a vamp. That's flipping the Giles trope on its head.
Isn't it great? And finally, Nova's dad, Abe. He's a photojournalist.
Yeah.
That could tie into investigating strange stuff. documenting things.
It sounds like they're definitely hitting familiar notes, the nerd, the expert, the parental figure, the librarian, but giving them all fresh twists. This doesn't sound like just a rehash.
No, it feels conscious. Taking the archetypes, but modernizing them. And production-wise, things seem to be moving. They're looking to open a writer's room soon.
That's where they really map out the season, right? The stories, the character arcs.
Exactly. And SMG isn't just acting. She's an executive producer, too, alongside Gail Berman, Zhao, the Zuckermans. She's invested in shaping this.
Now, there's a point the sources really stress, and it feels significant given, well, everything in recent years. Joss Whedon.
Not involved.
Yeah.
Explicitly. Creatively, production-wise, nothing.
And that feels important.
Yeah.
Given the controversies.
It does. It allows this new show to step out from that shadow, to build its own identity without being tied to those past issues or even the specific tone of the original series necessarily. It's a fresh start in leadership.
Timing-wise, the pilot was ordered early May. Gellar apparently said things are moving fast, offices are set up. Faster than usual.
Yeah, sounds like there's real momentum. But, the sources also say, let's manage expectations. Production might start summer 2025, maybe.
So, actually seeing the show, we're talking 2026 at the earliest. Probably later.
Probably. TV takes time. Pilot, then hopefully a series order, then filming the whole season. Yeah, patience is needed.
So how are the actual fans reacting? What's the buzz like, according to the articles?
Generally, really positive, hopeful. Especially places like Reddit, which the sources mention. People are picking up on Gellar being recurring, not just a cameo.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
And the description, Nova as a high schooler slaying vampires, Gellar as mentor Rocky. It's landing as a continuation, not a reboot. That seems to be the key word fans are clinging to.
It's picking up where the original show left off, basically. Fulfilling that promise of all the new Slayers.
Exactly. It feels like it's respecting the original, expanding the world Buffy Summers created, not trying to replace her. And that distinction is huge for the fan base.
Okay, so that's the exciting new chapter. But like we said, getting here, answering what happened after Chosen, it's been a long and winding road for the Buffyverse.
Oh, yeah. The 2 decades since the finale in May 2003. It's seen the story continue in so many different ways, sometimes even contradicting ways. It's basically become a multiverse.
Right. Before we dive into that history, let's just quickly remember what Chosen, that finale, actually did, because it all flows from there.
Chosen was huge. It wrapped up the season arc, defeated the first evil, destroyed Sunnydale. Spike's big sacrifice.
Still gets me.
Yeah. But the game changer, the thing that cracked the whole universe open, was Willow's spell.
The spell that broke the ancient rule. One girl in all the world. No more.
Nope. She tapped into the Slayer essence itself and activated every single potential Slayer on the planet, all at once.
Thousands of them.
Instantly.
Yeah, a total paradigm shift.
Yeah.
It was this incredibly empowering moment, ending Buffy's isolation, but it also just blew the doors off the future of the story. What does a world with thousands of Slayers look like?
And fans have been desperate to know ever since. The sources talk about that insatiable hunger for more, the banter, the characters, the monsters as metaphors. For so many people, Buffy wasn't just a show. It was like a formative text. It shaped how they saw the world, how they saw themselves. You don't just walk away from that.
So the universe had to keep going somehow. And the first major way it did that for a long, long time was the comics.
Right. Dark Horse Comics. From 2007 to 2018, they published what was billed as the official canonical continuation.
Yeah.
Season 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Season 8 picked up about a year after the finale. Yeah.
Pretty much. And right away, the scale just exploded. No TV budget anymore. Joss Whedon was involved as an executive producer, giving it that stamp of approval, sometimes writing, and they went nuts.
So not just Buffy and her friends anymore.
Oh, no. Buffy was basically the general of a global Slayer army. Command centers, like a castle in Scotland.
Yeah.
Training facilities. It was huge.
A Slayer army, wow. And the original Scoobies.
They evolved, too. Xander, with no powers, became kind of the Nick Fury figure, the coordinator, the watcher type.
Okay, makes sense.
Willow became this mega powerful magic user, like world class. Giles was still around trying to guide this massive new operation.
And season 8. The sources hint it got pretty weird. Controversial, even.
It definitely pushed things. Sometimes in cool ways, sometimes less so, depending on who you ask. Dawn, Buffy's sister, she became a giant for a while, literally.
Giant Dawn.
Buffy herself got temporary Superman-like powers. Flight, super strength beyond normal Slayer levels.
Buffy flying, that feels off.
Yeah, it was divisive, big time. And there was a major lesbian romance storyline for Buffy that sparked a ton of debate about her character and sexuality. Plus, A major character came back from the dead.
Wow, okay. And the villain?
A mysterious figure called Twilight, leading a huge military force against the Slayers. It was all-out war, not just Monster of the Week stuff.
So way bigger scale than Sunnydale.
Totally. And the stakes just kept rising. The end of season 8, they destroyed the source of all magic on Earth.
Yeah.
The seed of wonder, gone.
All magic, just wiped out. What?
The idea was the world changed with the Slayers, so the story had to change dramatically too. Shake everything up.
Bold move. But that wasn't the end of the comics.
Nope. Season 9 dealt with that magicless world, introduced zompires, sort of zombie-vampire hybrids. Gross.
Zompires, okay. Season 10 was about the Scoobies trying to literally write the new rules for magic, bring it back responsibly. Season 11 got really political slayers and supernatural creatures forced into government camps.
Wow, like an X-Men kind of allegory.
Very much so. And then season 12 in 2018 was the big finale for the Dark Horse run. It brought in Frey, the Slayer from the future.
Oh, I remember Frey from Whedon's other comic.
Yeah, and it involved time travel, fighting a demon trying to wipe out the Slayer line forever, tied it all together.
So for over a decade, that whole epic, sometimes controversial saga,
Yeah.
that was the official what happened next.
It was the canon for a huge chunk of the fandom. A complex legacy for sure.
But just as those comics were ending,
Mm.
whispers started about coming back to the screen. Exactly. Which leads us to the next chapter, the attempt at a live-action return in 2018. The one that, well, stalled.
This was the project with 20th Century Fox TV, later Disney, Monica Olusu-Breen as showrunner.
That's the one. And Whedon was initially attached as an EP again. But the thing that really set the internet on fire was the concept. The new Slayer would be a woman of color.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine the reactions to that.
Polarized is an understatement. A lot of excitement about diversity, making Buffy relevant for a new era, but also a lot of backlash from some fans who felt it was replacing Buffy, erasing Sarah Michelle Gellar. The word reboot became toxic.
Didn't the showrunner try to clarify that?
She did. Owusu-Breen put out a statement on Twitter basically saying, look, Buffy is my Star Wars. I wouldn't replace these characters. There's only one Buffy.
So she was saying it wasn't a reboot.
She framed it as a sequel, a new Slayer for our times, existing in the same world where Buffy activated all the potentials. Picking up the torch, not snatching it.
Which should have calmed things down, maybe, making it clear it was a continuation.
It helped some, yeah. But then silence. Years went by. Disney bought Fox. The TV landscape changed.
And there was the other factor, the Whedon controversy gathering steam around that time.
Yeah, the allegations about his conduct on other sets were becoming major news. Even though this show was about a new Slayer, having his name attached as EP, it likely didn't help matters, especially for a show about female empowerment.
And eventually, Gail Berman, another EP, just confirmed it was on pause in 2022.
Which usually means, probably not happening. So it remains this interesting what if, a potential leap forward in representation that just didn't get off the ground, a ghost project.
So live-action sequel stalls, but the comics kept going, just in a totally different direction.
Right. Chapter 2 scene. Boom. Studios takes over the comic license in 2019. And they made a completely different call than Dark Horse.
They didn't pick up season 13?
Nope. Clean slate, full reboot, start over from scratch.
So back to high school, but modern day.
Exactly. Sunnydale High 2019. Buffy as a teen dealing with smartphones, social media, everything you'd expect.
And the characters were different, too.
Remixed. Xander's an aspiring vlogger. Willow's out from the start. Cordelia actually becomes a Slayer in this version.
Whoa, Slayer Cordy again? But different from the audio drama one.
Totally different context, yeah. And Drusilla was the main big bad early on. It was all about making it accessible. New readers could jump right in, no need for 20 years of history.
Just the core concept. Slayer, friends, high school, demons.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the Boone comics actually did play with the multiverse idea. Characters from the original timeline even crossed over sometimes.
So even the reboot acknowledged other realities existed.
Yeah, it kind of cemented the idea that the Buffy concept is flexible. It can support different timelines, different interpretations, all coexisting.
Which sets the stage perfectly for what came next, something truly unexpected.
The Bolt from the Blue. Chapter 2 penned, the audio sequel, Slayers. A Buffyverse story from Audible in October 2023.
This felt impossible. SMG had said she felt done playing Buffy. Getting the cast together seemed like a pipe dream.
Right, but Audible pulled it off. And the cast list. James Marsters as Spike.
Charisma Carpenter as Cordelia.
Anthony Stewart has a Giles, Julian Landau, Emma Caulfield, Amber Benson, James Leary.
Clem! They got Clem back!
Hearing those voices together again, it was powerful. Pure nostalgia hit.
And this wasn't a reboot. This was specifically positioned as canon set after Chosen.
Yeah, about 10 years after the finale, but crucially, it completely ignored the Dark Horse comic continuity. Smart move, probably, given how complex that got.
So how did they do it? How did they bring them back?
Genius premise. Spike's consciousness, our Spike, soulful Spike from the end of the show, gets zapped into a parallel reality.
Okay, parallel reality. What's different there?
The big difference. Buffy Summers never existed in that world.
Oh, no Buffy. So who fought the Hellmouth?
That was the twist. The Slayer called in that reality was Cordelia Chase.
Slayer Cordelia, again. But this time, canonically.
Well, canonical to that reality, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's this hardened, weary, veteran Slayer who's been holding the line alone for years. Spike has to team up with her against that world's Drusilla, who's become some kind of god thing.
And other original actors play different versions of their characters.
Yep. Anya's a bartender who knows about alternate realities. Giles is on the run. And Tara. Tara's alive and a powerful magic user in this world.
Oh, wow. That's actually really cool, giving Tara that chance.
Written by Amber Benson herself, who played Tara, and Christopher Golden. The sources call it a masterstroke, and honestly, it kind of was.
Why? What made it work so well?
It used audio brilliantly to get the cast back, told the fresh story, sidestepped the messy comic stuff. But the biggest thing, it made the multiverse officially canon.
Right. Alternate realities are now baked into the official Buffyverse lore.
Exactly. Slayers opened that door wide. It means you can tell new stories in other realities without messing with the original timeline. Infinite possibilities, basically. And it was a huge hit. Proof people are still hungry for this world.
Okay, so the original finale changed the game. Then years of official comics built a complex future. A live-action sequel tried and stalled. A comic reboot started fresh. And an audio drama brought back the OGs and gave us the multiverse. What a ride.
Seriously. And understanding all that brings us right back to where we started this new Hulu pilot with Nova and mentor Buffy.
So how does this fit into that whole complicated picture now?
Well, like the fans are saying, it feels like the most direct follow-up to Chosen. A new Slayer gets called because Willow activated them all globally. It seems to be picking up that main thread from the original show's ending.
It's set in the prime timeline, probably.
Seems most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
And SMG coming back as a mentor. It just fits perfectly with everything she said about passing the torch, supporting the many chosen one's idea. It feels like the logical next step for her Buffy.
And Whedon not being involved gives it space to be its own thing, separate from his specific vision in the comics or the stalled project.
Exactly. A new creative team gets to define what the Buffyverse looks like now.
But the multiverse is canon now, thanks to Slayers. Does that mean Nova could be in an alternate reality? Or is it more likely this show is prime timeline and the multiverse just exists alongside it?
My gut feeling, based on the info, is that this pilot is meant to be prime timeline. It's the continuation fans have wanted. But the fact that the multiverse is established, that gives them options down the road.
Like maybe characters or concepts from Slayers could cross over eventually.
It's possible. It adds flexibility. Maybe this Nova is just one Slayer in one reality, and the Slayer's audio drama is happening in another. It just means the universe is bigger now.
And with Disney owning it and seeing the success of the audio drama, this pilot feels like it could be the start of a whole new wave of Buffy stuff, doesn't it?
You'd think so. Disney loves leveraging IP.
Yeah.
If this hits, maybe we get animation based on Slayers, maybe other live-action shows about different Slayers. The potential is there.
Because ultimately, what all this history shows is that the core ideas of Buffy empowerment, blending genres, using monsters for metaphors, great characters, it's just timeless. The Hellmouth really isn't closed, story-wise.
Nope. The storytelling possibilities just keep regenerating, like vampires. But less evil, mostly.
Huh. So why should you, listening right now, care about this tangled history of comics and reboots and audio dramas?
Well, it's more than just tracking your favorite show. It's this amazing real-time example of how massive pop culture worlds live on today. How they change, adapt, splinter across different formats.
Yeah, you see the whole life cycle. How they try to balance honoring the past with staying relevant, attracting new fans. How tricky it is to continue something beloved that maybe already had a perfect ending for some.
And you see that constant back and forth, right? Between what the creators want, what the fans expect, what the industry allows, and just the pure challenge of finding new stories.
It shows how things like reboots, sequels, multiverses, they're not just buzzwords, they're actual strategies creators and companies use to keep these worlds going to make them work for today.
It's like watching a modern myth being written and rewritten in front of us, finding new ways to tell those fundamental stories about power, responsibility, and fighting your demons, literal and figurative.
So to wrap it all up, Willow, Spell, and Chosen kicked off a 20-year quest for what's next. We got the epic, world-changing Dark Horse comics, the stalled but inclusive live-action attempt, the Fresh Start Boom reboot, and the surprise hit Slayer's audio drama that brought back the cast and confirmed the multiverse.
And all of that leads us to now, the Hulu pilot. A new Slayer, Nova, Buffy, the original, as her mentor. It feels like this story is absolutely not over. It's just finding its next shape.
Which leaves us with something to think about. With Nova stepping up, Buffy guiding her, and this whole multiverse of possibilities now officially open, what are you most curious or excited to see this new generation tackle? Are you hoping for new twists on classic monsters or completely fresh threats for our times? Or maybe you're wondering how other familiar faces, Willow, Xander, maybe even Slayer Cordelia from that other reality, could possibly fit into this bigger picture. What do you think? Let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts. It feels like anything could happen now. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Catch you next time.